It's an amazing tax deduction by itself, Section 179. Some key points about Section 179 before I get into the energy efficient part, which is Section 179D. And again, we're going to cover this in grave detail next 2 weeks from now in Storm Boot Camp. A lot of questions come up on Section 179. You can write off the 100% of the roof. You can also write off a portion of the old roof that you were depreciating. So there's two scenarios there. You can also get a new roof and write it off even if you don't pay for it yet. So this comes up a lot. Guys are asking, well, what if the insurance company paid for it? Can I write off the roof? Yes, you can. What if I financed the roof through commercial funding like what you guys do? Can I write off the full RCV or replacement value of that roof in year one, even though I financed it with no money down and spent not a penny? Yes, you can. 100%. What if I received $1 million for that commercial re-roof from Chubb Insurance, but I didn't spend $1 except my deductible to pay for it? I can write off the full re-roof value as long as I started installing it in that year, okay? It's an amazing tax deduction, guys. It's and I'm gonna show you a summary here what that means. If you're a business owner, if you make money, have a lot of income, it's probably one of the best tax loopholes I've seen in US history on this one as it applies to re-roofing. So if we take a business income statement, could be a factory, could be an apartment complex, whatever. Let's just say they made $20 million in 2020 in revenue, and their cost of goods sold was $15 million. Their net income, or EBITDA, for you tax guys, earnings before interest, taxes, and amortization, is $5 million. That's typically what a business is taxed on at year end. Okay, this tax liability on this scenario is about $1.8 million. Anybody ever wrote a $1.8 million check to the federal government? It sucks. I haven't wrote one that high, but I wrote one pretty high before. It's not a fun deal, okay? So every business owner in the world, whether they're a commercial building owner, they own businesses, they're trying to figure out how do I reduce this tax liability? It sucks.
How do I not pay $1.8
million
a year? Right?
And there's only so many ways to do it. There's only so many Starbucks coffees you go and have a business conversation with your or a hotel travel trip, whatever. There's only so many ways to reduce this. However, under Section 179, if I were to do this roof, let's say it's $1 million roof. Let's say it's an insurance claim. Guys, if it's an insurance claim, they're not paying for it. So now they're paying their deductible, but they're not paying for the actual re-roof. But they still can write it off because insurance claims still apply. You don't actually have to spend the money. You have to start the roofing process in that calendar year. And presumably you paid premiums all those years, so you're really getting your own money back to expense. What's a legitimate business expense, which is a commercial re-roof. So I've already checked that out with a CPA. Yes, insurance claims apply. Yes, even if I finance this roof through you guys and put you don't even have to put any money down with you guys, but if I did, $500 or zero, I can still write, and I finance that over 10 years, 15 years, 25 years, I can still have the full purchase price of that re-roof and wipe out that tax liability. That's an incredible tax deduction, guys. 80% of the business owners, commercial properties out there don't know it exists. They don't know how to, even the CPAs, the tax guys that think they know everything. This tax code just came into effect in 2018. Most of the tax guys are still getting caught up from 5 years before that. And it changed again in 2019, 2021. And so the tax code changes so much, it's this thick, most people can't keep up with it. But this is the real deal, and it's active right now. Now, there's another tax deduction on top of this. Section 179D, it applies to energy efficiency, otherwise known as solar, or AC units, or insulation, or other things, but we're talking solar here in this case, where you can write up almost to 50% of the solar installation, which is gonna cut the utility bill down, which is a story by itself. I'm not getting into that now. I'm all about the tax deduction. So you take, let's say the solar install on this property on top of the roof is $500,000. I'm gonna get a 26% federal income tax credit in addition to the re-roof Section 179 at up to $1 million. And I also qualify for an MCRS bonus depreciation, what brings me up to about 50%, almost 45 or 50% of the solar install. Now, if you guys, for some of you solar dealers out there that work for us, you know, the residential federal income tax credit is at 26%. Well, it's basically at 50% for commercial, and if you're doing a re-roof, it's 100% on a re-roof. What does that mean to the business owner, to the REIT, to the risk manager, the CFO? It means a lot more than a roof. So let's go back to this. Instead of paying 1.8 million to the federal government, I now qualify by doing that roof, that $1 million re-roof, insurance claim or not, half of my solar for a $1.2 million write-off. And now my check to the federal government tax liability is $600,000 instead of 1.8 million.